Welcome to Conversations Live. For more than a decade, we've brought you the best in books, entertainment, celebrity interviews, and current events. When the movers and shakers of the world have something to say to you, they say it to us first. Now celebrating 17 years of broadcasting success, here's your host, Cyrus Webb.
And welcome back, everyone, to Conversations Live. I'm your host, Cyrus Webb. Glad you all could join us once again, both for our radio audience and those tuning in online. We're glad you all could be with us as well. We're excited to welcome acclaimed actress Michael Learned to our program today to talk to us not only about her career, but also what it's been like for her to reflect on the work she's been able to do. Many people know her, of course, from the Waltons, but there's a great film that's getting a lot of attention right now called Second Acts. We're going to talk to her about that. What was it that led her to want to be a part of it? And, of course, let you guys know how you can be able to see it. Ms. Learned, thank you so much today for the time. Really appreciate it.
Oh, thank you. I'm happy to talk to you.
Well, I'm really excited about this. As I mentioned, many people know you from the Waltons, but you've been able to do some great work. And, of course, now with this new project, Second Acts, I mean, really, I think something that is very timely for what we're living in right now. I want to begin, though, with a reflection, if you don't mind. I mean, you've been able to have, a great career. What has it been like for you to reflect on the success you've been able to have and the lives you've touched around the world?
Well, it is amazing because I was never ambitious in the sense of I want to be a star. I just loved the work. I loved theater. I loved the words, Shakespeare, and so on. So I never really thought much about, anything other than doing rap. And I was at the American Conservatory Theater in San Francisco for a couple of years, and it was wonderful. We were doing all the classics, and that's my great love. But I happened to be in L.A. I came down to learn the freeways in case I got an audition, and my agent said, "You go see about this part." And I said, "I'm not right for this. Why should I put myself through the agony of an audition for something I'm not really right for?"
Right.
And lo and behold, my life turned around on a dime, really. It was just amazing and a miracle, really. It saved me. It was wonderful.
Right.
So, I look back on the theater as my great love, and the Waltons gave me a second family. So.
Yeah. And looking at now, of course, I think the 45th anniversary, and I think, too, knowing that it's been able to capture literally a worldwide audience. Now, I'm on the radio here in Mississippi, so, of course, we're big fans of the Waltons, Ms. Learned,
that's great. Yes.
Because, of course, it is something that's so relatable. But do you think, though, the great thing about that show, and continues to be even today, thanks to television and repeats, right, is that it does show people, real-world problems, regardless of what the year is, right?
It did. It actually did. The show has been maligned, actually, in its later years because, they call it soppy and saccharine and sweet. But we did really deal with we dealt with racism. We dealt with the book burning during in Germany when they were burning the books, and they were trying to do it in the United States, and John Boy pulls the Bible out of the fire, and we had the Dust Bowl cousins. This was all in the first 5 years when Richard was still in the show, and then as the kids got older, it got a little more complicated to write. The whole story kind of changed, but it still kept going, and Richard left, I left, and the show went on.
Right.
So I'm happy to have been part of it. I'm honored and humbled, really, because people come up to me with tears in their eyes and say, that show changed my life. I went to a hospital, and there was a Vietnam veteran in the hospital, and I went in. I was young and blonde and wearing blue jeans, and he sort of didn't bother to respond to anything. I felt like a fool, and I walked away, and apparently the nurse told him who I was, and they called me back in, and he was just sobbing. And he said, that show kept me going. So Things like that really make your heart just warm.
Right. Well, I tell you, I mean, and it continues, as I said, to be something that resonates with people, as is this new film that's getting a lot of attention thanks to DirecTV, and, of course, it's already won awards, and that being Second Acts. This film, I think, again, is so powerful and important. I should say for those who are like myself and do not have DirecTV, if you guys have Amazon Prime, you all can watch it there right now while we're having this conversation. Ms. Lerner, what was it about this project that drew you to it, that made you want to be a part of it?
I just love the fact that in this country, you know, in England, you're not, they still do stories about old people,
yeah.
with old people, maybe I should say. And in this country, when you're over, you know, your childbearing years, they're really not all that interested. So here comes a love story between two people who couldn't be together as children because of the racial issue, and who find each other again later in life and fall in love and can be together. So that's what attracted me to it. I thought it was a lovely story, a love story.
Yeah, and it's able to be delivered, I should let our audience know, in less than 15 minutes, which is the power of the world that we live in today.
Wow.
I have to ask you about that, Ms. Lerner. What has that been like for you to see the changes that have happened in your industry over the years?
Well, it's extraordinary and wonderful, I think. I think there's some wonderful stuff on television now and cable and everything, and I can't believe that in 15 minutes people can watch Second Acts. I mean, I'm still a dinosaur when it comes to all this new virtual stuff.
Well, yeah, it is so funny. When I was prepping for this segment with you, Ms. Lerner, the only complaint that I saw on Amazon was that it was too short.
Sweet.
Someone posted they could have given them at least another 10 minutes.
Oh, that's very sweet.
You know. So I want to talk about, though, I mean, the way that this has been received and where we are in 2020. Does it surprise you? I mean, here you have, as we were talking about the Waltons, talking about, you know, this particular short film, Second Acts, where race was such an issue. Does it surprise you in 2020 that it is still such an issue today?
It saddens me, actually, that it's an issue at all. I don't get it. I never did. I never got it as a kid. I never understood it. And I still don't. But I guess there are different forms of racism, and I mean, I remember we rented years ago in my first marriage when I was still very young, and we rented our apartment to an Englishman and his wife who was from Jamaica, and beautiful woman. And when we came back from whatever we were doing. We'd been away for about a month, I guess, on tour or something. And when we came back, the landlord gave us a lecture, and he said, "How could you do that?" And my ex-husband said, "Well, you're Jewish. How could you, how could you possibly be prejudiced like this?" And he said, "It isn't me. It's the Italians down the street." So I don't know. It baffles me. It really does.
Yeah. Well, it does show, I think, as television and film shows us as well, holding up a mirror to us that we still have work to do, and I think that's the thing. So I have to ask you about this, because I did not know before prepping for this segment with you, Ms. Lerner, that stage was also a big part of your life. I mean, so when you kind of compare the two, I can imagine with stage being able to get that instant gratification, did you find that you had a first love when it came to acting? Was there a platform that you preferred, or did you love them all the same?
I hated doing television, to tell you the truth, but I did love the money. Mm-hmm. And the reason I hated television at the time was because I have kids at home and the hours are long.
Yeah.
I sure as hell wouldn't mind, excuse my language, having a nice little juicy part in the series now because I don't have to worry about it and the money's great.
Right.
But there's nothing like theater. I love, every time I walk into a theater, I feel like I'm walking into a church.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Well, I tell you, people, especially these days, we love to be entertained, and we also love the idea of being able to come away with something. And I think that's the great thing about the work you've been able to do, is that you've been able to entertain, but also to give people something to think about. And I have to ask you this final thing, and again, I do appreciate the time. I'm sure people want to know from you, based on your experience, what advice you have for them, for those looking to break into the industry. What do you normally say about longevity, or do you think there is a key to longevity today?
Keep active. I try to keep as physically. I take dance classes. Unfortunately, I'm having a little problem with my back at the moment, which is going to be fixed hopefully on Thursday. But I just keep as active as I can. I walk. I take dance classes, and I forget that I'm old. Every now and then I wake up and go, "Oh my gosh, I'm old," but I don't feel it.
Right. Well, look, this has been a real pleasure. I know my mom, who is a big fan of the Waltons, my mom is listening here in Mississippi on the radio side.
Hi, Mom. Hi.
I know that she is so jealous of me, Ms. Lerner, for this time. Again, everyone, Michael Lerner has been our guest for this segment, talking with us about her career. Again, the film that's getting a lot of attention right now is a short film, Second Acts. As I mentioned, it's available through a very special promo with DirecTV. However, for Amazon Prime members, you guys can watch it right now for free. Just head over to Amazon to be able to do that. Ms. Lerner, again, I really appreciate this time and looking forward to having you back on the program again.
Thank you. Me too. I enjoyed talking to you. And I love your name.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. And we thank you, our audience, for tuning in to another great segment of Conversations Live.